Hi, I'm Tyler from Dandelion, and I just got back from Eurobike 2022, which was so much fun. A big part of the trip was visiting Riese Müller, spending a few hours with them at their booth, and learning about what's coming in 2023. And so most of this video is going to be an interview with Felix Ströder, who is the head of R&D Management for Riese Müller. And he's going to give us a tour of the highlights of the 2023 lineup. For those of you that are already Riese Müller fans and just want to know the quick scoop, a lot of the lineup doesn't change. If you are looking for an e-bike that is for touring, long distance touring, high-speed commuting, those bikes in the lineup, the Homage, the Delight, the Super Delight, the Supercharger, stay the same for 2023. And I think that's a good thing because those bikes, most of those have been out for 2 to 3 years now, and they're very mature. Little problems have been fixed. I think there's no real reason to change them at the moment. The Charger 4 we saw introduced a few months ago. That uses the Bosch System 3, also called Smart System. We saw also the Charger 4 Mixty unveiled at the show. It is a mid-step version of the Charger 4. Those bikes are currently limited to a single battery, and there's no E-shift, and there's no high speed. So what is the big news for Riese Müller this year? Well, they're working in a completely new category for them, urban mobility. And in this case, that means a lightweight e-bike. Riese Müller has been known as a company that produces rugged, heavy-duty touring and commuting machines with a focus on long distance as well. Not everybody needs a bike that does all that. Some people would like to purchase a Riese Müller that only have a small urban commute. Maybe they don't even have that many hills. And what they tend to prioritize is a bike that is lighter, is something easier to store. And so the new bike for Riese Müller, called the Urban, does exactly these things. It's an exciting product, and excited for you to see the interview with Felix. Second, new bike for Riese Müller, the Multitinker. This is a stretched version of the Tinker, essentially. They've been making a 20-inch wheel bike for many years. This is a Tinker that has more utility. It's like a small cargo bike. You can fit up to 2 kids on the back, a nice front rack, a compact form factor, again, mostly for city use, although they make a knobby tire version too, which is cool. And then the other big news is cargo. The Packster 70 is back. This was a bike that was recalled last year due to concerns about the steering, and they fixed all those issues and added a lot of nice new features, including well, I'm not even going to tell you. You'll find out. It's exciting. They also released a brand new cargo bike, bakfiets, that is an entry-level bike. It's called the Transporter. There's a Transporter 65 and 85. The 65's for hauling children. The 85 is focused on freight and cargo delivery, stuff like that. That's about it. I really hope you enjoy the next 25 minutes or so with Felix. I certainly learned a lot, and we'll see you out there on the road. I'm standing here with Felix Ströder from Riese Müller. And Felix, what do you do at Riese Müller?
So I'm the head of R&D management, so responsible for the R&D stuff, means design, engineering, project management, product management. Yeah, and I'm really happy to have you here.
Well, thank you so much. It's so nice to be here. And we're going to start this tour of the new Riese Müller stuff, this stuff for 2023, with the Urban, which is a new direction, I think, for Riese Müller. So can you tell us a little bit about how these bikes are different from what you've offered previously?
Okay, yeah. So first of all, I would like to say that This is a complete new category of urban mobility, and we wanted to have a bike that looks more like a bike. It's an e-bike, it's a performance e-bike, but it looks more like a bike. It's not that bulky, it's not that masculine. So here you can see the Urban 7, which is a mixed frame, but we also have the Urban 5 with a regular high top tube. And at the first look, it looks more like an e-bike. You don't see a big drive unit over here, so that's the first time that we use, besides Bosch, also a new drive unit from Fazua, a really compact drive unit but very powerful. So this drive unit has also 16 Newton meters. So we see a high potential for that kind of e-bike because it offers a new possibility, especially in the urban area, but also at the countryside for traveling, and not only for the commuting and the urban stuff.
I know there's different options of drivetrain and fork, but what's the ballpark weight on these bikes?
Yeah, so with the single speed we have 18 kilograms. So that's the lightest version, and it goes up to, I think, 21 point something with a silent version, and this is with a Shimano gear hub system. And for us it was very important to have a clear and clean design. So if you have a look at that bike, you see at the moment we have this pannier rack available, so you see really clear, sharp edges. It's very dynamic, and one thing that's special inside of the Riese Müller portfolio is the rigid fork as the standard version. And here at that bike you can see the suspension kit with a suspended fork and also a suspended seat post, and that's available as an option. Is
that called the comfort package?
That's the suspension kit.
Yeah.
And then there's also the comfort kit available, and that is a back sweep handlebar for a relaxed seating position. And as soon as you have a more relaxed or upright seating position, your bones are in another geometry, and that's why we have also a wider saddle for your bones.
All right, let's go look maybe at one of the other Urbans here.
Yeah. So here you can see also the Urban 7, means the mixed frame in white. That's the second color. Here you can see the Shimano gear hub, and what I said before, the rigid fork, which is also very clean and stylish.
Beautiful.
One thing I would like to mention is that all the stems are equipped with the SP Connect interface. So you are able to take your smartphone with an SP Connect interface, and then you can put it on top, and then we will have the RX app, and all the drive data, means distance, velocity, and stuff like that. Also upcoming navigation you can see on the screen of your smartphone.
So a big bike this year is the Multitinker, and we're standing next to two of them here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who this bike is for and what it's all about?
Yeah, so the Multitinker, as the name says, it's a little bit linked to the Tinker. So it's a compact bike, 20-inch in the front, 20-inch at the rear, and let's say it's a multi-purpose bike. So it's for a target group that's maybe not able to park a long john bike in a garage or at their home. So they have limited space, but they want to have a bike that gives the opportunity to be ridden by the whole family, to transport cargo stuff, but also the kids. So as you can see over here with a safety bar kit, you can carry the children. You can you can assemble some child seats behind each other, and you can carry the kids, but you can also put in water or beer grates, and you can also put some cartonnage or stuff like that next to the side loader. And we have, with a Multitinker, a low step through, so it's, I think, a special one because there are a lot of those bikes available at the market, but as far as I know, that one has the lowest step through, and this, especially if you have kids in the back, it's very convenient to step over the top tube. We also have the possibility with the cargo carrier, front carrier, to transport big stuff in the front, and as this bike could be ridden by the whole family, you need to adjust the seating position as convenient as possible, and that's why we have the adjustable stem that you maybe know from the load. You can adjust the angle, but you can also adjust the height. So there's a wide range within that space where you can adjust the position of the handlebar and have the optimized seating position or riding position. Another feature of the Multitinker is that bag over here.
I really like that bag.
You have a lock that you maybe know from a bag. You can just open it, and then you have space to store your smartphone, the keys, or maybe some tools for a quick repairing the bike. There are also foldable helmets available on the market. You can store a foldable helmet in there, or you can put your iPad in it. So a lot of possibilities in that area. And if you compare it to other bikes, that area sometimes is filled with a battery. But at the Multitinker, we have a power tube that is integrated into the tube, and that's why we have free space over here, and our idea was to give that space a feature, and that's this bag that is also lockable with that classic bag lock.
I love it. And this is also a smart system bike.
Yes, right. So that bike is already equipped with a new Bosch Smart System. So the standard display is the Intuvia 100 that is available starting by autumn this year, and as an option, as you can see here, the Kiox 300, and the battery capacity is 625 watt hours.
Cool.
If we have a look at the bike over there, there's another option shown, the cargo bags. So here you have a big bag. The intention of that bag is to stay at the bike and to put your bags from grocery inside of those bags. So they are, not you cannot take them with you. That's not the intention of those bags. So they are fixed at the bike.
They look large and probably really water resistant.
Yeah.
That's important in Seattle.
Yeah.
Great.
Definitely.
And also the bike looks so cool with the GX package.
Right.
Wow.
That's another option of that bike, to have the GX tires. So it's more for the off-road purpose. And on that side you can see the bag is extended. So it's really a big bag with large volume.
I really like how you guys designed these lower rails, because I love that they're the length, almost the whole length of the rear ends. There's plenty of places for children to put their feet, but they're also not sticking out too far, because I've sold lots of other bikes of similar design where those rails are so wide, you're knocking them into every door. Yeah. So I think you did a wonderful job really bringing those
Thank you.
in, and very nicely designed.
Thanks.
Also, I rode the bike yesterday, well, 2 days ago, and yesterday, and it was even better than I thought. It was just
Thanks.
yeah. And I just noticed also that it does have a lower pannier rail. So this rail, oh, great, cool. So you can run this with regular panniers too.
Right.
This is a little bit different than the multi-charger then, which doesn't have a system like that.
Yes.
I like that very much. I just noticed that. Now we're standing next to something new. Why don't you go ahead and introduce it?
Yeah, so here we have our Transporter 65, and over there with a big box, it's the Transporter 85. So it's an evolution of the Packster 60 and the Packster 80. The intention of that bike is to have an entry-level cargo bike in our portfolio, and a cargo bike that is also intended for real cargo stuff, especially with the Transporter 85. What you also realize or recognize from the naming, we extended the loading area to a length of 65 centimeters and 85 centimeters, but the total length of the bike is not affected. So it's even a little bit shorter, but really a little bit.
Yeah.
But we created more space at the cargo surface, and that's due to a different position of those tubes. So if you compare it to the Packster 60 and 80, it's wider, and as I said, it's longer. With the Packster, with the Transporter 65 over here, we have a kids box, or we call it the box, and then there is a double rear child seat option available, as you can see here. And a nice new feature is that door. So you can open the door and your kids can easily get into the bike. And also, if you don't want to have that double rear child seat, we have a dog option. So then there is a cushion for the dog. The dog can also jump through the door, and then there is a hook to fix the dog with the bike.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
And this is also a smart system bike.
This is also a smart system bike, so this will be equipped with a power pack. In the standard version, it's equipped with 545 watt hours, and there is an option to go with 725 watt hours. A dual battery option is not available at the moment for the smart system, so that's why we cannot offer it.
Something new here as well is this smart system performance line drive unit.
Right, so from the hardware perspective, it's still the same. The Echo system is the smart system, so it means different connectors at the drive unit. And one thing that's very special, it has a higher torque of 75 Newton meters, and that's very good for that purpose of a cargo bike. So you will realize a huge difference in the performance.
Absolutely, I'm blown away because up until now it's been kind of a trade-off between power and noise from a Bosch drive unit, or efficiency and quietness from the performance line, versus the speed or the CX. So here, 75 Newton meters and quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, a few years ago, that 75 Newton meters was the output of the CX.
Yeah, right.
So I'm thrilled. I can't wait to. I haven't had a chance to use this drive unit yet, but I'm looking forward to giving it a test, hopefully later today. And now we are standing next to something that we've seen before, but we're seeing again.
Right, so the Packster 70 is back, and we are really happy to present that again. We did some optimizations, modifications, especially on the steering, to get a stiffer steering and a reduced steering angle, to avoid any trouble that could be caused for the rider during turning or at a certain speed. So now the steering is more stiff and it feels really, really nice. So good riding performance. We also modified or optimized the child seats, the adjustment of the child seat, and also the seat belts. So now you can fix the seat belts very easy. It's like you know that from your day pack, so very convenient. We also did modifications here with those sheet metal plates so that you have a wider area where you can fix the magnets of the tarpaulin and the child cover. We also have now a stronger magnet for that luggage compartment, because if in the past when you had heavy stuff inside and rode over a bumpy road, then it could happen that it opens up. So now the magnet is very strong and this will not occur anymore. And one thing that you can see at that bike, which is a really, really nice feature, is the control technology package means an optional full suspension of that bike, and this brings the bike onto another level. So now you have the best setup, the best performance in each riding condition. So it means off-road, on-road, on cobblestones, in wet conditions. It's always the best riding performance you can imagine.
Yeah, I did not think it was going to be as cool as it's so cool as a control tech bike. I didn't think it was going to be that much. I didn't think it was going to mean that much for this bike because I've sold the Packster for many years, and it's like, well, the Packster's a hardtail, so it's hard for me to imagine not getting the control tech package unless you just don't want to spend the extra money. But it's lovely. It's like a really nice addition to the bike.
And I think if you compare the bikes, the hardtail and the control technology option, you can see that it's more dynamic and that we designed the whole bike with the control technology in mind. So it was planned from the very beginning. So we started with that because it was the less complex structure for the frame, but it was always the intention to have this control technology package. And I think if you slide along the silhouette, you see that it makes absolutely sense. And if you ride it, you will feel it that it makes sense.
A little bit, some things have changed on the front end of this bike as well. You got a new fork, is that correct?
Right, so that's what I meant in terms of optimizing the steering stiffness. We changed the fork to a boost standard, so it means the fork legs are a little bit wider, so it's stiffer. We also changed the size of the pulleys at the front and at the rear in order to have a longer leverage and to reduce the force inside of the cable. And if there's less force, there's less elongation, means it's stiffer.
Cool. And the turning radius got a little bit larger.
Yes, because now we have 65 degrees to each side, which is still quite a lot.
Yeah.
But 65 degrees prevent an understeering event, so it means you turn too much at a high speed and the mass of the vehicle pushes against the front axle and it begins to rub over the street, and this can lead into a really complicated riding situation.
Yeah, it's a toss-up, right? Because it's nice for parking, that feature to go to 85, but you can get into trouble if you turn that hard when you're going fast. So it makes sense, and I think that 65 seems still, you're right, it still seems like a great amount. Like when I rode the bike 2 days ago, it still turns sharp.
Yeah.
I have to ask this because I know that it's going to be asked of me and other dealers a lot. When will there ever be a high-speed version of this bike?
So it's not planned at the moment.
Great. And I've been told by one of your colleagues that one of the reasons for that is that this bike is it's heavy enough that it can't be made into a high-speed bike.
Yeah, so that's a regulation thing in the European Union.
Yeah.
So the vehicle category is for a certain weight, and we are above that also with that control technology option. I know that's not important for the US market.
Yeah.
But we will keep that in mind, but at the moment it's not planned to build it.
Honestly, man, I don't think it's a good idea to make this bike ever be a high-speed bike. I want people to have fast transportation with, bakfiets, but I feel like that's the domain of the load.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that bike.
Right.
I ride that bike fast as hell every day, and the Packster just seems to be a different machine.
Yeah.
With a completely different idea and focus as to what it does.
Right. Absolutely.
And same thing goes for the Multitinker, correct? No plans on making that a high-speed bike.
No.
I also think that's a great idea. I did love a few years ago when you offered the Tinker as a high-speed bike, but it also gets a little dicey if you hit a big bump on a small wheel bike.
Yeah.
At
Sure. And with the Multitinker, there's also the loading situation. So if you have a lot of load and weight in the back, this small wheel size and a high speed, that's, I think, not the best combination.
Yeah.
So there are other models for that purpose. For example, the Multicharger is available with a high speed drive unit, and I think that's the option to choose if you want to have high speed and a long tail or mid tail bike.
Yeah. Well, thank you for this tour of some of the highlights of the 2023 lineup, and it's a pleasure to work with you and the company that you work for. Thank you, and keep up the good work, and I just can't wait to see what the future holds for Riese Müller. It seems like every year you guys are carving a new, making something new, something unique. And while I've been here at the show, I've been thinking a lot about the fact that you guys are a relatively small independent operation means that your product shines in a way that a lot of the stuff surrounding us right now doesn't. It's the focus and direction of this company is unique, and everybody knows it.
Thank you very much. That's good to hear that all the thoughts we have are well addressed and that you understand our mission, our vision, and it's always fun working with you, and wish you all the best.
Thanks, Felix.
Thank you.